Ladies and gentlemen, I am quite disappointed in this 2023 LC500. I had so many expectations, mainly because Lexus themselves teased us with images back in April 2022 with a black silhouette of an LC with the F Sport logo in the back. And we had so many assumptions. Well, I did, at least, after seeing that photograph. So I waited patiently for about a year now for updates on this car. And what do we have? Well, the same suspension tweaks that they have been doing for the last 3 years to help improve ground contact, and they added the cloudburst gray paint color. When Lexus first released this article, I read it right away, and one of the things they added was 10 years of the Lexus Inform connected app subscription, whatever the hell it is. And they removed that, and now they're just giving you the same simple 3-year Lexus Inform app connectivity. I just thought it was funny that they removed that. And everything that us owners and the enthusiasts wanted, they didn't add any of that. We still have here the same 10.3-inch infotainment display with the touchpad. They haven't changed it. Granted, I personally didn't care about that. I like the touchpad, and I like the fact that the infotainment is sitting flush inside of the dash behind this glass panel, if you will. I just thought that was elegant, so I don't mind that they didn't upgrade that. But many people wanted a touchscreen, so they didn't listen to that. And also, they are touting the use of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but they did not say that it was wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So here we have a 6-figure vehicle where you're most likely going to have to plug your phone in with a cord. And there's no mention of a 360 camera either. Another thing that many Lexus LC500 owners and enthusiasts wanted. More importantly, what I wanted was just a simple F Sport package. That's all I wanted for this LC500. And no, I'm not looking for an LCF with the twin turbo V8. That's not what I want here. And they sure don't seem to be interested in giving that to us. But if you want a twin turbocharged V8, just go get an AMG, a BMW M, or an Audi RS. Okay, there's a plethora of those twin turbo vacuum cleaner V8s out there, because once you attach 2 little snails to the engine, it just neuters the sound of the car. AMG does a pretty good job of giving you a pretty character filled twin turbo V8, but I digress. So the NA V8, that's what made the LC special, and that's what made me fall in love with it. So enhance that. That's why I just wanted an F Sport that gave you a slightly louder exhaust, just a little bit louder than the stock, and maybe an upgraded intake to give us more induction noises. That would have been a nice touch. Some new F Sport wheels, a new F Sport interior, some carbon fiber bits thrown around. That would have been nice. Honestly, that's all I wanted out of a 2023 LC500, and once again, we got none of that. And you know what else pisses me off? The car that doesn't deserve anything, the RCF, that vehicle got all the little Fuji track packs and 6-figure trim levels and everything. I wish they gave that same attention and love to the vehicle that actually deserved it, the LC500. And they just totally didn't do that. Now, I get it. This is a car that, let's be honest, doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things to the world, because, well, Lexus sells about 100 of these vehicles every month. I think total in the United States over the 5 years that they've been making this car, they've sold about 10,000 LC500s total in the US. And that's really nothing when you consider the fact that the Porsche 911, all the trim levels combined, sell about 10,000 units every year in the United States. In fact, what's interesting about the Porsche 911 sales is the fact that the 911 sells twice as many units as both the Boxster and the Cayman combined. So I thought that was very interesting. The Porsche 911, that is the coupe of choice for wealthy individuals. I have noticed that, and for good reason. It's got great resale value and all that stuff. But I'm personally not interested in any Porsche 911 except for the GT3 model. And many people are saying back when I leased my 2020 LC500, well, why didn't you get a Porsche 911? Because at the time the 911 was like newly redesigned. And I'll tell you why I didn't want that, because for once, a regular base model 911 Carrera When I spec'd one out, it was $130,000 for a Carrera rear-wheel drive with just a couple of decent options. And the thing still looks like a scrotum with headlights on it. I do not like the way the base Porsche products look. I need that GT3 with that dining table spoiler on the back of it. That's the one I want. If it doesn't have that dining table spoiler on the back, I don't want it, okay? And besides, nowadays, if you wanted a GT3, even though it's 170 grand, they're really charging you like 300 grand for it. Let's forget this LC Finder because there's really nothing to talk about with what's new, so I might as well just talk about, you know, all the other vehicles I was somewhat considering. I'm not saying that I was 100% committed to buying an F-Sport LC even if they came out with it, but some of the cars I was personally considering, you know, like a GT4 Cayman, but I already know how that's gonna play out, man. I mean, I'm a car reviewer, so I've been in and out of a lot of these vehicles, and you know, they lose their luster very quickly, I'll just put it that way. If I bought a Cayman GT4, I would be looking to trade that thing in within 2 weeks, I'll be honest with you. The interior, it's like a slightly enhanced Mazda 3 interior space, right? It just doesn't feel that special to me. And I'm sure the GT models of the Porsche, they're gonna ride like shit, and then my spinal cord is gonna go straight through my brain anytime I go over a bump, so I can already see that happening. I'm just gonna get sick of it. Sure, it has an epic, naturally aspirated Boxer 6 engine, I appreciate that, but I just don't think out on the street it's gonna give me that special feeling that the LC was able to give me. And then there's the GTS models of the Caymans and the Boxers. But first of all, we're talking about Boxers and Caymans here, okay? If I'm gonna do a Porsche, it's gotta be the 911. I can't do no Boxster or no Cayman, right? But the GTS models, those were around 110 grand when I spec'd them out. And that's pretty much identical to the LC500, but once again, we're talking about a Boxster and a Cayman, and it's a GTS and not a GT4, so it's not gonna have the same resale value as a GT4 or a GT3, which is very important to me, and that's why I can't really do a Mercedes AMG like an S63. That thing is gonna crash and burn in value, and in 3 to 5 years, an S63 is gonna be worth next to piss. You have to be very wealthy to be able to afford one of those RS Audis or BMW M's or AMG Benzes. They are for people who make colossal amounts of income through a business, and then they go lease those things new, and then they write it off. The payment on a lease on an S63 pre-pandemic was like 3 grand, 3,500 a month, something along those lines. I could never even entertain that, but I do love something like the S63 AMG Coupe. But Porsche, much like Lexus, they tend to make a higher quality product, and they seem to care, and they seem to treat their customers nice. They seem to have good dealership experiences and good build quality, etc. But the Porsche products, they just don't seem that special to me, and like a base 911 will never satisfy me like the LC because it just has a turbo Boxer 6 in it. And if you're a spec sheet junkie and you were making money like that, you would just go get the Tesla Plaid. Like, you wouldn't even waste your time with any of these ICE cars. You know, if the numbers was all you cared about, you wouldn't be looking at any of this stuff. So as a car journalist, that's not what I care about, is the numbers. And you know, I am tired of casting my pearls at the swine, so I'm not even gonna really go into why I love the LC so much. You can just go watch my other reviews about that. But other vehicles I was considering was something like the Ferrari FF, because it's a naturally aspirated V12, and I've never driven an NA Performance V12 before. So I wanted to have that experience. But that experience is now gonna cost around 160 grand. Pre-pandemic, those Ferrari FFs, nobody wanted those things. They were going for like 100 grand on Car Gurus. I remember it. And now it's like 3-4 years older now, and now it's going for $60,000 more money. Who knows what the dealership experience is gonna be like? Who knows how they're even gonna treat me? And if they find out I'm a journalist, if they will even give me a loan on a car like that, who knows what it's even like dealing with a company like Ferrari. But one of the things I liked was I would have only bought it as a certified pre-owned option because I wouldn't touch a Ferrari, a used one, without a warranty. And the fact that if you finance through Ferrari Financial, I think they don't report to the credit agencies, so it doesn't show up on your credit report. So I thought that was a nice touch. But again, I don't know if it's wise to deal with that company. Anyway, I just wanted that experience of driving a proper V12, and the FF was one of the more affordable modern day Ferraris that you can get with the V12. Even though it has a crunchy, shitty interior space, I would have dealt with it to experience that engine, but let's move on from that. And then now we have the Corvette Z06 that just came out. In fact, I even had an allocation for a C8 Z06 and I revoked it. You know why? Because I had my allocation with one of the biggest Corvette dealerships in the whole country, and they were telling me that it was going to be a 2-year wait. So it's a 2023 car, and most people would probably get their cars in 2025, 2026. That was hilarious to me because we all know where the world is headed. They're going to stop making these ICE cars in favor of EVs very soon. And this isn't just me making that up. It's what all these company officials and directors and CEOs of these massive car corporations are telling us. So what are they going to do with a car like the Corvette Z06? Well, I feel like it's just going to be a bait and switch for the most part. Listen, I'm sure they're going to make it and they're going to give it to a few people like the Jay Lenos and the Jerry Springfields or whatever the hell. You know, they'll give it to a few people like that, but the rest of us normal people, we're just going to be sitting on the side, you know, sitting on our hands essentially. So that's what I feel like would happen with the Corvette Z06. You know, I don't even think honestly they're going to make that car. I just feel like it's going to be a bait and switch and they're just going to take those allocations and then they're going to push us towards buying like a Corvette E-Ray or something, like some EV Corvette that they're going to eventually come out with. You know, I'm just spitballing here. I don't really know for sure. I'm assuming that's what would happen to all the people that had their Z06 Corvette allocations. And let's just say in a perfect world that I was able to get a Corvette Z06. Honestly, I would maybe even take it over the LC500 if I had a choice between the two. But I can already foresee what's going to happen if I did own this car. Okay, I'll be driving down the road, you know, doing my thing, and then the freaking transmission's going to blow out, and I'm going to be on the side of the road looking like an asshole, and then the guy's going to come, tow it away, take it to a dealership, the same dealership where the haters' moms are going to take their Equinox to get serviced, and now we have Exhaust Sports Auto sitting there waiting for a Chevy Spark loaner car, because they're going to be like, sir, it's going to be like a 2-year wait to get your transmission. And yo, I'm not dealing with all that. You know, F all that, okay? This is why my default always comes back to the LC500. Hey, you know what the other sad thing is? These cars, they're not even as obtainable as they used to be. Now I get it. A 6-figure car is always going to be difficult to obtain. But back in the glory days, pre-pandemic, man, these cars were releasing for $1,100-1,200 a month. I mean, that was a lot more feasible back then. Nowadays, if you wanted to lease an LC, I'm sure it's going to come out to be around $2,000 a month, maybe more. You know, back in the day, people were driving Porsche 911s for $700 a month, BMW i8s. You know, people are on the internet scoffing and trolling the i8, but there are other people out here driving that for $800 a month. You understand, like $150,000 car, people are driving it for $800. You know, the Hellcats, right, going for $500 a month on a lease. Those were the glory days, and that's now completely gone. And we're probably never going to get that back. So these are now very expensive to budget for. And this is why, even if they made an LCF Sport, I know it's going to be very expensive as a monthly payment, whether you leased it or financed it. So that's why I was 50-50 on it, even if they made one. And that's why I'm not really in a market for a car like this anymore, because it's just, yeah, it's asinine now. It's not fair anymore. People's dreams have now turned into a nightmare. So, you know, all the people that were, you know, coveting and idolizing these cars, well, even if you wanted one of these things, they're now very expensive. Pre-pandemic, you know, people were making it happen. Nowadays, not so much. I mean, we were driving like exotic cars for as much as a Honda Accord finance payment. You see what I'm saying? That was the game. That's why I loved leasing so much. But, well, that's all done and gone now, so we can forget about that. But anyway, this video is long enough. I apologize. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there and what I wanted out of a 2023 LC and what I was hoping they would do with this car, but none of that is going to happen. Who knows what they're going to do with the 2024 LC? If they're even going to make the thing in 2024, who knows? But hey, if you're an owner, let us know your thoughts. Let me know why you like the LC500. Is it the engine? Is it the interior space, the exterior looks? because the thing is useless. The car has like, you know, a pitiful back seat, no trunk space. It's literally just a Hot Wheels made in real life for someone to drive around in. Otherwise, there's no practical reason to owning the LC, and that's why stuff like this is disappearing. Most people, the wealthy, they've spoken. They would rather have a six-figure pickup truck or an SUV because that's more practical. And you know, most people, they buy these six-figure vehicles for the prestige, not necessarily a driving experience. So let me know why you like the LC. Let me know if you're dealing with a dealership right now to buy a 2023 LC. Let me know what they're saying, what the wait times are, etc., and what other vehicles that you would personally consider in this class and category. So thanks again for watching and supporting. Take care and goodbye.